The first round is in the books. And how rude of them to start the second round before we can even preview it. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what's wrong with the Leafs. We'll talk about how the Kings might hope for a sweep in the Stanley Cup final right now on Teal Town Live. All righty, you got it. You love it. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I hope if you're having fun, be careful out there and enjoy your burrito or your taco with some orange sauce, especially if you're in downtown. Hey, everyone. It is May 5th. The first round is finally in the books, and we will get going on the second round preview for sure on this edition of Teal Town Live. We thank you for watching us, and of course, if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow hockey fans all over the world on the YouTube page or the app live. Of course, if you're watching the replay, by all means, leave a comment down below on what you thought of the first round and more. But of course, follow us on the social, and especially for Tuesday, we are still waiting time for the draft lottery. So we'll hopefully get that before the show comes to a conclusion. Of course, you can find everything at tealtownusa.com. And, I'm excited. And if you want to support the pod, you can Venmo us at tealtownusa or hit us up in the super chat. And I say good evening to you, Ian Reed. What's happening, buddy?
Death taxes, the Vegas Golden Knights fucking my brackets. Never fails. Like, it doesn't matter what they do, they always manage to find a way to completely fuck my brackets up.
But I see a smile though on there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. What am I gonna? I mean, mad that I'm gonna be mad? No, It's fine.
No, don't worry. I as soon as Mark Stone was made coming back, it was like changing my brackets, and now I regret it. To this very.
I mean,
day.
It was a good series. Like they definitely they could have won that series. I think that. Look at there's the thing with this round was there's a bunch of dumb teams that went home. That really kind of didn't belong, but there's a couple, I'd say maybe 3 really good teams that are done playing already in the first round, and that's just the playoffs, right? And,
yeah.
You can talk about playoff format, but the playoff format, if you went 1 through 8, if you did it like the league used to do it, guess what? Your Eastern playoffs are the exact same way as they are right now. Granted, there would be reseeding in the second round, but we're not talking about the second round. We're talking about the first round.
Yeah.
So, 3 really good teams. 3 really good teams went home early, and then some jokers also went home as well.
Who was the biggest disappointment in the first round? I have one, but I want to hear what you think.
Oh, it's Winnipeg.
Yeah,
I think.
I
think it's Winnipeg.
Absolutely.
Winnipeg's a team that I thought would be better. It's funny, because there was 2 teams that I called frauds all year, and I will apologize to the Dallas Stars if they beat the Colorado Avalanche. I will come on here now. I will apologize to the Dallas Stars for calling them frauds. And I called the Jets frauds all year. And then for some reason, I don't know what happened. I think Hockey Jerk got in my ear.
Yeah.
And I do have a soft spot for the Jets also. And
Yeah.
But you know what? Usually when I fill my bracket out, it's brained. It's never hard when I do my bracket.
See,
because a lot of people be like, oh my God, you picked Vegas. Like, what kind of Sharks fan? Like, but that's, you know what I mean? Like, but I thought
right.
that they had a legit chance of repeating, and I was wrong. Thank God for that. Like I said, I'm not gonna be mad that my bracket's upset. In fact, I posted the disaster girl gif about me, watching my bracket burn, because it's great. Like, fuck Vegas, obviously.
All right. It's just, I mean, Connor Hellebuyck most likely wins the Vezina.
Yeah,
and he just had an awful series.
I mean, the problem is with the Jets is like they're defensive, but they couldn't do anything to the Avalanche. Like, couldn't do a damn thing to the Avalanche as far as it's crazy how a team as good defensively as the Winnipeg Jets were all year completely imploded like that. And then yeah, and
Yeah.
Hellebuck, I think Hellebuck, there's definitely some things that he would probably want to do over again, and it's definitely not something I think he's gonna spend a lot of the summer feeling particularly good about. I think winning the Vezina is going to be fine. I think he'll deserve it, but it's a good thing those are regular season awards because
Yeah, right.
if the voting happened and included the playoffs, then I don't know how many people are talking about Connor Hellebuck for the Vezina. But he's
Yeah.
gonna win it, and I think he's gonna deserve it. Despite what happened in the playoffs, I just think it's just I don't know what it is about that Jets team. Like I don't know how to explain how they caved in. I wish I had a logical explanation about it, but I just don't.
Well, I mean, yeah,
I mean, the
I
Avalanche are good, right? Like the Avalanche are a good team. I didn't, and I think the one thing I think I do too. I weigh too heavily in my brackets is goaltending, and I again like Georgiev's. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in this next series because them playing. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I think playing a team like Dallas, who definitely has the ability to put some pucks in the net. Um, I'm fascinated to see how that plays out, but we'll get to that later.
yeah. Definitely, it'll be an interesting matchup. But again, we will get to the second round in a little
Oh,
bit.
Felix saying that the NHL has reopened the bracket challenge for anyone who wants another shot at it. I
Yeah.
might need to take another swing because my bracket's pretty toast.
You're not the only one, my friend. Mine,
What were you overall for the first round? How many series did you get right? How many
oh,
series did you get wrong?
awful. I mean, I did two brackets actually
Okay.
this time. I did a feels and a reels, and so with my brain and my heart.
Okay.
And honestly, both of them, I think I absolutely just bombed on. Why can't I pull up my bracket challenge? I'll pull it up in a sec here. Um, but
I was 6-2, but of course one of the series I got wrong was Vegas, and that completely implodes my bracket. And I had the Jets Avalanche wrong, and I had the Dallas Stars and Vegas Golden Knights series wrong. And it's like I said, it's the one series, unfortunately for our bracket, but fortunately for the world,
let me see here.
he's fine.
Uh, yeah, let's see. Coward move, not gonna lie. What? Agree, Logan. Um, Trey Bone in the chat. The hockey gods are real. Just need them to give us the number one pick.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be nice, right?
yeah. Okay. So here, let me tell you. The one bracket I had was Vegas against Florida.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that was my bracket final two.
Um, let's see here. I had Vancouver winning in the West. That's the only one I won in the West. And then I had
Oh,
Florida, Boston. I got the East spot on, so that's good. That was the
the East was
reals.
pretty easy though. Like other than Boston, Toronto, I thought the East was really cut and dry.
Yeah. In my feels, uh, yeah, I had Florida and Toronto coming out, and I was kind of hoping for the Rangers Islanders rivalry, thinking that the Islanders were such a hot streak going in, it was going to be a good one. My West is still on, except for I missed out on Colorado, so it's meh. But yeah, I'm definitely taking a look at the second chance challenge.
Yeah, because I think for my bracket I was way too bullish on the Canucks.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I had the Canucks in the conference final, and I don't think that's going to happen now.
No.
All right, let's get to
Okay.
the other series
Anyway,
before we
let's
get too
yeah
much
let's
into
let's
the
let's
second
get
rounder.
continue on to it. Edmonton, LA. I think that was a pretty simple one. I thought with all the chaos that's going on in LA, that's Edmonton's to lose. I thought maybe LA would get maybe a game out of it. They do, but um, Stuart Skinner stepped up, and Edmonton had a smooth ride into round two.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised here. I think LA LA is an interesting team, right? I think Rob Blake, for the most part, has done a really good job with the LA Kings. He's done a good job kind of rebuilding them. And I don't even think they're at their peak of their power yet. Like, I still think that they have a little bit of growing to do. I know they're probably frustrated to get lost, to lose 3 years in a row to Edmonton, pulling Edmonton in the first round. Like, that's really hard. Like, the Edmonton, I don't think there's any shame in losing to the Edmonton Oilers 3 years in a
No.
row. Like, the Edmonton Oilers are such a better team than the Los Angeles Kings. They've just, they have better players, right? At least on the top end. Uh, and I feel bad for LA a little bit. I think Rob Blake's done a good job. I think the only thing that Rob Blake has really kind of fumbled is obviously the Pierre-Luc Dubois thing. I think has not done very good for him, because I think that's what they needed to go out and get a guy that could kind of like help move things along. I just don't think Pierre-Luc Dubois was the right guy.
Yeah, and they went full all in on
Yeah.
PL Dubois. Pat in the chat, good to see you, buddy. PL Dubust, baby.
Yeah, it's the one real blemish on Rob Blake's record, I think, in Los Angeles.
So my question to you is this: the last, I think, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final is like June 24th.
Okay.
I think it needs to be a sweep in order for it to finish early, and there's a little incentive for LA to buy out PL Dubois before his 26th birthday, if I'm not mistaken. And Kevin, you can back me up in the chat if I got these numbers wrong. If the Cup Final ends early, they can buy him out at 1/3, and if it goes longer, they would buy him out at 2/3.
I feel like the buyout. No, I could be wrong here, but I feel like the buyout window, like, isn't it a set date?
It's like 48 hours after the cup has been presented. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I thought I'd have to go and double check that. But yeah, I mean, if they did buy him out at 1/3, like, that's still, I don't know. To me, that's an overreaction. I feel like you kind of have to. I don't know, man. It's hard, right? Because for one, that's a 14-year buyout.
It is. I mean, it's full Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, like the cap hit's only really rough for like 3 years, where it gets really kind of ugly, and ugly, is only, I think, at its worst, 3.82 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I look at these. That's a really long buyout. Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think that would be. I mean, if you're Rob Blake and you go to your owner after signing that deal and being like, yeah, we're gonna fuck this guy off for I'm gonna write him basically a check for 27.34 million to not play for us. I mean, look at Philip Anschutz has the money.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But
they'll just up the fees on some more concerts in the area,
But like, I don't know. I mean, if I'm trying to look at this, like, but Rob Blake, like, if you do that, I don't know, man. I think you're kind of sliding yourself into the hot seat a little bit quicker than you probably need to, because, like, not only have you lost, and again, I don't think there's any shame losing to the Edmonton Oilers 3 years in a row, because I think Edmonton's the better team, and Edmonton is definitely the more cup contender of the two of them.
Right.
But I mean. But losing still sucks, right? And owners don't like losing. So, man, I mean, I don't know. To me, like, I could understand why LA might want to do it, but man, that's a big check for your owner to write for a guy that you just signed. Like, at that point, I think Rob Blake's seat starts getting pretty hot if they can't do anything, if they end up being a team that, continue. Like, let's say they get the Oilers again in the next round, right? In the next year in the playoffs, right? Unless they do something drastic to kind of increase things. And I wonder too, if you're LA, like, are you gonna, like, if you're Rob Blake, I wonder if you're a guy who, if you start thinking like, I have to just get beat this team in Edmonton, and
Yeah.
then you kind of build a team to beat Edmonton, and then that'll be the year they don't play Edmonton in
Yeah,
the
of
playoffs,
course, of
right?
course.
They'll build a team to beat Edmonton and not do anything else. So I'm fascinated to see what LA does. I mean, could they buy out Pierre-Luc Dubois? I guess, man, but man, oh man, that is still a big check to write. Although it gets worse if they wait a year to do it. So
Yeah,
fair play.
it'll be tough to see. Basically, it means the cup has to be awarded by June 22nd if they were going to make that an option. And that's the other thing too, Patrick. Thank you, bud. PLD's no movement clause kicks in July 1st too. That's
Yeah,
another thing.
but you can't like. Great, you have a no movement clause on July 1st. I mean, wouldn't it be next year when he's like? Because I think if you're a free agent, so wouldn't it be next year that it would kick in on July 1st? I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
So that'll be interesting to see. Um, and LA, only one playoff. What? One playoff round win? No, they haven't won a playoff series since they won the cup in 2014.
Correct.
So,
but they're on the come up, right?
They're
like
on the come up, but
they're a team that's on the come up. I think that it'll be interesting to see what I think it's going to be. They're a team that I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do in the offseason, just because I'm fascinated. What do you do? Do you lose your mind and be like, I have to be at Edmonton at all costs, or do you kind of stay the course a little bit? I'm fascinated to see what LA does.
Yeah, no, I'd be really curious to see what they do next. It's going to be quite an interesting offseason for them. And
I mean, they
could,
if they want to give us their first round pick, they could send them here.
Oh, like what Kevin just said in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
what you expect. But do you really
not worth the locker room trouble? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I mean, that'd be tough. Oh boy.
I look at. I'm sure John McCarthy, San Jose Sharks will do fine.
You shut your you shut your freaking trap. Don't even dare bring that into. My God, if that were to happen, and we'll get to the Sharks coaching thing.
The Barracuda staff staying because they're coaching the Sharks next year.
No, not funny. Not funny, not funny, not funny. All right. Let's continue on in the West. We already talked about Colorado, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Nashville. Oh, wait, sorry. I said it. My bad.
Did somebody say
Vancouver? Vancouver using 3 goaltenders to get by the Nashville Predators. I thought Vancouver was easily in the second round, maybe going to the conference final. Does the iffiness about their goaltending, and I know Demko's trying to practice up and everything too, does the iffiness of the goaltending for Vancouver, yes, a great job by Seeloffs and Casey DeSmith to do a fill-in job. Does that affect their run? I thought kudos to them for getting it through, because this could have been bad for Vancouver in round 1.
Yeah, I mean, I look at credit to Vancouver. Obviously, Thatcher Demko goes down right away, basically, and they still do well, right? They get past Nashville. They do what they're supposed to do. I give them a lot of credit, but obviously without Demko, like, that changes my opinion on them. And look they still went to 6 games against Nashville, who I don't think are very good. I have no idea how this team, I don't trust. I think Seelovs did good. Casey DeSmith was fine.
Yeah.
When he came in, but now you went from playing the Nashville Predators to the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh yes.
Rest in peace. Like, and I think that I give Nashville full marks for getting it to 6 games. I give Vancouver a ton of credit, especially with Pettersson not really doing anything so far. But I just, man, they're gonna get fucking rolled by the Oilers.
But I appreciate them getting, doing what they did. It just seemed like this is a hiccup. Hopefully they can get it over the thing, but we will see. That is pretty much it for the West. Dallas, Vegas. I mean, I guess they can. I guess Vegas can lose without taking a major penalty in Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, again, but it was a good
Game
series.
7.
That was a tight series. I am fascinated to see if Dallas can keep it that tight against the Avalanche, because I think the Avalanche are a lot more dynamic from their blue line than the Golden Knights are, even though I love the Golden Knights blue line. Yeah, I mean, it was a good series. Vegas, obviously, the cap isn't real in Vegas, as we all like to say. I'm fascinated to see what they're doing summer, because I think, you're probably, unless if they, cap voodoo, I don't see how they keep Jonathan Marchessault. And I think that's going to be a pretty significant loss for them. It's, you know what? It's going to be interesting if Vegas does next, because again, the cap's not real. But they're going to lose Jonathan Marchessault, who was, I thought, who earned the Conn Smythe last year. I thought it was between him and Eichel last year, and they were both really good. I thought Marchessault and Eichel were really good in this series too. I think they were, again, probably two of Vegas's best players this series. And to lose that, that's going to be a big loss for them. And I don't know, man, I love Tomas Hertl, but wouldn't you rather have Jonathan Marchessault? I would. And
I
that
would too.
kills me to say about Hertl, but I would rather have Jonathan Marchessault.
It's going to be interesting what happens next.
And this Dallas team, though, let's talk with this Dallas team for a second, right? This Dallas team is just again, you have the guys that are up there in age. You have Joe Pavelski, you have Jamie Benn, and those guys. But it's the next wave of these guys that is scary. This team is going to be good forever.
Yeah.
It feels like this Dallas team is going to be good for forever.
Yeah, they're going to be really, really. They're going to be really good. I love Wyatt Johnson. He's been phenomenal. Jason Robertson we already knew about him.
Yeah.
And
then Stankoven.
Oh,
coming up party for him for sure. Just
stanky leg.
Yeah, man. He's they're going to be good forever.
It's going to be good. And you throw in Rupe Hintz as well. Ricky mentioning, McKinnon is the fastest accelerator in the league, but I think Hintz, Johnston, and Stink can skate enough to compete.
Yeah, I just the one thing I don't. The thing in this series is I don't think that Dallas gets enough from their blue line offensively. Whereas Colorado, they can kill you with some of the guys that they have on the blue. Obviously Cale Makar's Cale Makar. He's fantastic. It's gonna be a great series. And if Dallas beats Colorado, I will apologize for calling them frauds. But not until.
All right. So that's the West. We move over to the East, where the Rangers took quick care of the Capitals. Nothing big. Why do they play 4 games?
Credit to the Capitals. They won the nobody wants it win to the Western the Eastern wild card spot that no one seemed to want. They won the Derby. They did go on quite the run at the end of their season, though, them and the Islanders. But they had no business in that series with the Rangers, and there's not really I wish I had something cool and super in depth to say there, but the Rangers are just they're such a better team, and they didn't belong in the same arena together. They didn't belong on the same planet together for a lot of those games. The Rangers are, they're a wagon.
Yeah, they looked really, really good, and they already played 1 game so far, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We'll go talk with Carolina and the Islanders. Again, Islanders came in hot, and they just did not.
No points for Ovechkin too. Not really getting It's unfortunate. Obviously, age comes for us all. but
Ain't that the
he
truth?
didn't get a ton of minutes in the thing, and it's I mean, look, he's gonna chase the record, and I think he has a good chance of passing it, but
Does he do it next year?
He could, but I just think that
That's the curious one.
unfortunately, it did. I think this series really did show that age has taken its toll a little bit on Ovechkin, which is sad because like Ovechkin's probably the greatest scorer, like goal scorer of our generation, right? Like
Right.
he's like we talk about the record that he's chasing, which we all thought was going to be impossible to beat at one point because like no one scored goals anymore like that. But like Alex Ovechkin, greatest scorer of your generation, unfortunately. But time is definitely starting to show its thing.
Big time. Florida, Tampa. I kind of expected a little more fight out of Tampa Bay a little bit, but Florida showed their dominance and why they are the top seed in the East.
Yeah, I mean Florida. In my opinion, Florida's the team to beat in the East. They're great, right? And on my bracket, like Florida was the team that I had in the final against the team that shall not be mentioned ever again on this podcast until next year. Because fuck those guys.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, no, I mean Florida's great. Tampa Bay had a run. They had a good run. Obviously, they had 2 cups and then lost in the third cup final to the Avalanche. Hell of a run, but they're on the downslope a little bit. Steven Stamkos is going to be fascinating to see what they do there. Steven Stamkos is a guy who, again, I thought was one of their best players. And he's the guy that, they didn't want to extend earlier in the season. And it's going to be fascinating. I can't imagine like them not wanting to keep Stamkos unless like Stamkos wants bonkers money or something. But
so
yeah, I mean, look at Tampa Bay. They had a hell of a run, but obviously, like when you are as successful as they are, guys continuously begin to price themselves out of your team because if you win a Stanley Cup or 2, then guys obviously want to get paid for that. And it's the cap system. They had to let players go that were a big part of those cap teams. And again, I think they're another team. They're not getting any younger.
It's going to be quite interesting what they do next. Breezeball's job is now getting more interesting, indeed, for sure.
I don't think he's been particularly great for them, to be completely honest. I know some people are really souring on Yzerman a little bit in Detroit, and I think that's a little premature, but I think that Yzerman did a good job of building up the Lightning and kind of keeping them competitive, and Breezeball kind of benefited from
exactly
the tail end of that a little bit. But I mean, when they remember the Tanner Jeannot trade and what they traded for Tanner Jeannot?
Right.
And how many games did he play in the playoffs? 1?
Exactly.
1 of 5, like just silliness, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not great. Not the return you got from Barclay Goodrow or Blake Coleman.
Well, that's the thing. They got used to just being like, we can just throw draft picks away and it's gonna work out awesome. And then they threw all their draft picks away for Tanner Jeannot, and okay.
And Hagel for that matter.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be really interesting on what they do going forward there. I'm trying to say what for the last one, but I'm blanking on the series that I'm missing here.
Carolina Islanders next, then?
No, we already got the Island.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, we got
Did
the
we?
Rangers.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean,
Carolina Islanders. Yeah, that's fine.
Carolina's a good team. The Islanders, again, a good run. Patrick Waugh comes in, turns them around. They need to figure out what's going on with Ilya Sorokin, though.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the one thing in the Islanders that I would be super concerned with is that you went to, I believe, what was it, Varlamov?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Varlamov was your guy in the playoffs should be look, and this is not a knock against Semyon Varlamov. He's a great goalie, but like Ilya Sorokin should be, in my opinion, like he's the guy who has a pedigree similar to guys like Shesterkin, right? Like he should
Right.
be way better than this. And I don't know. They need to fix him.
What I mean by Hagel, Patrick, is that they threw a lot to get him. That's all.
Get him. Yeah.
Carolina just looks really good, and you know, we'll discuss Rod Brindamore in a little bit, but
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a clown show.
oh,
Absolute
jeez.
fucking clown show.
Speaking
All right,
of
let's talk.
which, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the freaking Boston Bruins. And I'm going to throw this tweet up from Maple Leafs legendary Maple Leafs broadcaster Joe Bowen. The idea of going to any sporting event to support the home team is to be proactive, give the team and to be reactive. These players can't say it, but I will. Tonight's crowd was very disappointing. So Ian, let me ask you, why did the Leafs fans lose Game 7?
I mean, look at we all know the real Leaf fans are the ones that are outside the building and whatever square it is.
Maple Leaf Square.
Yeah, okay, whatever, great. That's where the real fans are,
True.
because they've all been priced out of they've all been
big time.
real fans have all been priced
Big
out.
time.
I get it, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but like that's been the problem forever, and it's a problem with no solution, because again, the real fans have been priced out.
Yeah.
A long time ago, right? That's why they want another team in the GTA. It's like, oh, you gotta put another team in Toronto, so because they think that they won't charge the same prices as the Maple Leafs to go see the games, right? But we know they will.
Yeah. But let's be serious on this side.
Okay.
Boston wins in 7 games.
Good series.
A great series. I mean, there was some boring hockey there, but it's crazy to say that your best player was William Nylander, and he played 4 games.
I mean, I thought Austin Matthews was really good before whatever was going on with him, and I don't know what it was at this point. I haven't really. I think they're having lock tomorrow, so I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good to start the series. Toronto, they're an interesting team, because this is a team that on paper you would think would win more than one series in 9 years. Like, it's been 9 years now with this core. I don't know. Like, they're the most perplexing team in the league for me, because you just think, like, you look at some of these players and you're like, how is this team only won a single playoff round?
And now they have to blow it up.
They have to do so. I don't think they have to blow it up. Like, I think blow it up is a little bit extreme.
Well, I mean,
but they have to do something.
I mean, does Tavares get moved? Does Marner get moved? The way Sheldon Keefe talked last night in his presser.
Sheldon Keefe is done.
I mean, when is he waiting for the phone call from his boy Kyle Dubas to run the Pittsburgh Penguins?
He's gonna get fired. Sheldon Keefe's done.
I'm telling you right now, he goes to Pittsburgh. That's when the Devils are able to get Mike Sullivan to be their head coach and go from there.
I mean, here's the problem. Now, again, look at we had a team full of guys with the movement clauses. Right. They're all gone now. Well, with the exception of a couple of them, they're all gone now. Everyone has a no movement clause there. Like, so I mean, it's as much as it's blow it up. It's time to move on and get rid of all of these guys. Like, they have to want to move. And I remember once upon a time they had 5 guys with similar contracts and none of them wanted to move, right? And the rebuild had to wait.
Yep.
Again, a completely perplexing team. I think if you're looking for positives from the Maple Leafs, like, I think Joseph Woll came in before whatever happened to him.
Yeah.
he looked great. Um, that's good. I think that, again, but this is a team. This team, in my opinion, is too good to have won only one playoff round, and I think they have to do something. I can't imagine them just running it back. I can't imagine it.
And if it were to happen again at this time next year, how does Brendan Shanahan have a job after that?
Yeah, Brendan Shanahan's going to be the interesting one because I know he doesn't have very much time left on his deal, and the MLSE has a new, I mean, not a new owner because they're owned by everybody.
But like a new head of ops.
Yeah, the new head of MLSE, they've got a new head there, so it'll be interesting to see if Shanahan goes. Like, it's fascinating because I guess from what I read on Twitter today, they have the players will meet with the media tomorrow, and management isn't meeting with them until Thursday. I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I want, do they come in and do they completely like throw everyone out, throw Shanahan out, throw Brad Treliving out, who's only been there, I think, a year, and Sheldon Keefe, or does, or do you keep the new, it's going to be weird to see because obviously they just hired Brad Treliving as GM. So do they, does he get the axe immediately? I mean, that seems to be, I don't think Brad Treliving's done amazing things there so far, but I feel like given the rope that Kyle Dubas had there, it'd be crazy to fire Brad Treliving after. But if you're going to fire the guy above him, then is he going to want his own GM? Is he going to want a new GM? Right? It's the stupidest shit. So yeah. I think Sheldon Keefe has definitely coached his last game in Toronto. I don't know. It's going to be a fascinating offseason for Toronto, and don't worry, because it will definitely be covered by everybody. So
yeah. Except for us,
there'll be no shortage of coverage for what they do next.
Because why would we? Yeah. So I think that's all the first round recaps and everything. Yeah. Let's get to round 2. We'll start with the one that already started. Rude. Carolina and the Rangers. Rangers win game 1, 4-3. A great game. Mika Zibanejad almost had a hat trick in game 1. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I didn't see the game today, so I don't know anything about it. Now the Rangers.
Moving on.
No, I didn't see the game, so it doesn't work. But the Rangers would be definitely my pick to come out of this. I just think, look at the Rangers again. They're a wagon. I think they're going to be. I think the only team that can stop them is Florida. Mm-hmm. They're so good. They have, in my opinion, the best goalie in the league in Igor Shesterkin.
Right.
I think they're just such a good, complete team. Carolina, I don't want to speak ill of Carolina too much here. I think Carolina's a good team. I think this should be a really good series. But the one thing with Carolina that I'm always waiting for is I'm waiting for their goalies to break, because that's what happens every year to this team.
Right.
They start playing a ton of games because they, you know what I mean? They have to play a ton of games because of the playoffs, and you're playing every other night, and their goaltending breaks down.
Big time.
Happens every year. That's the thing with Carolina. I would love to be bullish on Carolina and say, man, Carolina, Burns is going to get a cup, whatever. But I just
love it.
It'd be great. Don't get me wrong. Would I be sad to see Brent Burns lift Stanley Cup? Of course not.
Yeah.
But I can't trust their goaltending, man, because their goaltending is made of glass.
Yeah. If there was ever a team in these playoffs that would need 3 goalies, I would have thought it was Carolina. I thought for sure for Carolina.
Yeah. That's so. I mean, that's usually that has been I feel like every playoff year it's who's starting for Carolina today?
Right. No, exactly. So I would love. I mean, again, this is the feels and the reels here.
I love Freddie Anderson. Don't get me wrong. And I don't want people to think that I don't like Freddie Anderson. I love Freddie Anderson. I just, again, man, but history is not on his side.
My my thinking is can they outscore their issues? Oh, sorry, Kevin. Yes, Carolina has 4 goaltenders.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah.
My bad. Uh, you know, just it's tough
Yeah,
because I
I
would love
like the
to see.
Rangers. I like the
Yeah.
Rangers in 6.
Yeah, I like the Rangers too. I would love for Bernsey to get a cup, but it's going to have to wait for his contract year, unfortunately, to do it. So Rangers in 6 for me. I almost thinking Rangers in 5 for 2 of the best teams in the league that are going still. So we'll go to the series that also starts tomorrow. Florida, Boston. Rest versus rest in here a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be a factor. But this Florida team, look, this Boston team, I like, again, they get full marks for the way they played the first round. I think that, this is a team, like, if you go back to that series, like I think whoever lost that game 7, like, their coach was getting fired.
Yeah.
Because I think for the Bruins to go up 3-1 and then kind of let the Leafs back into it the way that they did. But then they went and they finished things up, which is what they should do. I think this Florida team is way better than this Boston team. I think Jeremy Swayman's been great, but he is going to have his work cut out for him. I think Boston, Florida, the other thing that's going to be interesting about this team is they're both very agitating teams. So it's going to be fascinating to see how these teams are going to play, if this is going to be just a penalty fest or not, because I think these teams both have players that can get way under the other's skin.
Yes, this is going to be really fun. I think Florida might catch the Bruins snoozing in game 1, but I think of all teams, Boston is the one. And even Matthew Tkachuk even said, well, we kind of have a feeling it was going to be Boston. Boston's the one that can kind of give them a run for the money here. So I'll say Florida in 6. You can maybe go 7, but I'm not sure if Boston has it. Granted, Swayman has been spectacular for the Bruins.
He's so good, so fucking good.
I mean,
that's the thing. Like I feel like Florida should win this one quickly,
but Swayman might keep him in.
Swayman could keep them. Yeah, Swayman could absolutely. If he continues playing the way he's played, he could absolutely keep them in it. I hate to do this, but I'm going 6 here again. I hate going like the same number for a lot of series, but I think I can't discount how good Jeremy Swayman's been. I think that gives Boston a couple of games. I still think Florida's the better team, and I think Florida should be the team that comes out of this. But I should be quick, but I can't go against Jeremy Swayman. I can't. I want to say 5, and it's going to be 5, and I'm going to get really pissed off. But I'm going to go 6 just because I feel like I need to show Jeremy Swayman a little respect here.
And maybe also, Sergei Bobrovsky, has a hiccup here and there. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. Moving over to the West, Colorado versus not Vegas. Dallas versus Colorado here. Obviously, the matchup that just situated. This one should be good. Do you trust Jake Ottinger, even though he had a spectacular game 7?
Jake Ottinger was really good this round. I don't think Jake Ottinger is a weird one, right? Because it's kind of like Georgiev.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing. Like these are very similar teams. These are goaltenders that actually had respectable showings in the playoffs after, in my opinion, not having very good seasons, but no one really realizing they didn't have great seasons because they're like, how do you mean you had a bad season? Look where these teams are. Like, but this looked like Jake Ottinger, like that Jake Ottinger that we saw in that Calgary series a couple years back. I think the Avalanche are going to win this series. God, how are they going to win this series? This is going to be a fascinating series because it's going to be one of, I think whoever gets to dictate their game. Like the reason that the Avalanche had their way with the with the Jets the way they did was because they got to dictate how the game was played. If they can dictate to Dallas that how the game's going to be played, it'll be fuck it. No, I'm doing it. It's Avalanche in 5.
Ooh, Avalanche in 5. Nice. I'll go Avalanche in 6 because if it gets to Game 7, there's no way in hell that Colorado wins it because PDB is undefeated in Game 7s. I think
Yeah,
he's like
I just think that again. I think the Avalanche are gonna. I think if the Avalanche can dictate, they can make Dallas play their game, then that is good for the Avalanche. I could be wrong, but I think the Avalanche. I don't trust either of these goalies either. So that's the other thing. I don't.
Yeah,
trust
right.
Either. Like I will give Jake Ottinger his cookies for how he played against Vegas. He was good, but I don't trust either of these goalies. Yeah, I don't know. Avalanche in 5. I'm probably gonna be super wrong.
Yeah. I say Avs in 6 or Dallas in 7. I know that's kind of flip flopping, but I think that's how it's gonna be. So, moving on to the oh my God, they haven't promoted this enough in Canada yet. The all Canadian matchup of Vancouver and Edmonton here. I would say if Demko had played well in round 1 and he was fine, you make this a more interesting series, but
Edmonton's the better team here. Like the Colorado Avalanche, or no, sorry, the Colorado Avalanche. The Vancouver Canucks are this year's Seattle Kraken.
Ooh.
No, they are.
I could see that.
They've dined out on stupid high shooting percentages. And I think that again, having a team like Nashville take them to 6, I think it tells you everything you need to know about this team. Unless if Peter Pettersson comes up and has like an obscene series, there's just no fucking way that Vancouver gets past Edmonton. I think this is the easiest. Like this is the one, and maybe it'll blow up my face, but I think that this is the one that I think this is the easiest one. I think it's Edmonton. I don't think it'll be a sweep. I think Edmonton 5. I don't give Vancouver much of a chance here. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't think that like there's just Edmonton is so much better offensively than the inept fucking like they Vancouver can't get in a track meet with Edmonton.
Right.
Edmonton's such a better team. I'm mad because I think on my bracket I had Vancouver in the conference finals. I don't know why. There's a couple things where I scratch when I go back and look and I'm like, why did I do that? And that's definitely one of them. I think Edmonton's gonna smash Vancouver.
Yeah, I might be agreeing with you in Edmonton in 5. I'd probably say Edmonton in 6, but yeah, I think Edmonton's going to get it done. The only thing is that if the pumpkin burst for Stuart Skinner, I think that's the only thing that can really be it. So
can I answer a question in chat here?
Sure. Which one you got?
So pretty good 49. With Hill playing so well in Vegas, do we look at our team being as why the reasons our goalies are trash? I know our defense sucks, but it's been a trend for years. So I'm of the opinion that, like, I know people are mad that Aiden Hill went and he won a cup in Vegas and blah, 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 blah. But I think based on the information we had at the time, like Aiden Hill's time in San Jose was not good.
No.
It was not good by any fucking metric. You can Monday morning quarterback this all you want, but the reality was he was not good with the Sharks, period. He wasn't good. Now, would you have rather have moved James Reimer instead? Yeah, I will concede that argument. Yeah, that probably was the play. But I think that again, if you go back to that Sharks team was in denial of where they fucking lived. Mm-hmm. Right? They were still trying to be fucking competitive or some fucking nonsense. Like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't. It was a fucked up time in San Jose. I don't think Aiden Hill was good in San Jose. I think based on the information they had, I'm still not mad at that trade. You will have a hard time getting me mad, but I would still say like if you look at the Sharks goaltending, has been pretty decent considering the team in front of them. I
Right.
thought that Kaapo Kähkönen had a really good year in front of this, behind this team. Mackenzie Blackwood had a really decent time behind this team. Like he wasn't, yeah, I think Mackenzie Blackwood did kind of falter a little bit at the end of the season, but after playing in front of this fucking team all year,
I don't blame him.
yeah, I don't really blame him, right? Like I think that the Sharks goaltending was better than it had any right to be in front of this team, and Aiden Hill was not good.
Nope.
And by that, and going by that metric, like he wasn't good in San Jose, man. Like there was nothing that he did in San Jose that should have screamed out, "Oh my God, this guy's the future." And it happens, right? He goes to a team in Vegas who's a much better team, but I think if you want to look at this series too, I think Logan Thompson was fine in this series for Vegas. I understand going back to Hill because Hill was your guy, but I didn't think Logan Thompson did anything that was worthy of being. I think you could stick a lot of goalies behind that Golden Knights team, and I think they would look fine. You don't need, I mean, if the one thing that I continuously go back to, everyone wants to talk about like the elite cream of the crop goalies, but like none of those guys seem to win anything other than Vezina trophies. Other than Vasilevsky, who's your super goalie that's won a cup. Vasilevsky, that's the only one I can name in the past, little bit.
Agreed. I'm looking at the chat here with Hill. Kevin is saying, plus, why are we complaining about Hill when we acquired Blackwood for less? Move on, folks. Hill wouldn't give the Sharks more wins this season.
No, I don't know, man. Like, I think Aiden Hill's been fine, but I think Aiden Hill, like, he's been good in Vegas, but he's also had injury troubles in Vegas too. Like, you want to talk about Mackenzie Blackwood's injury issues? Like, I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood's the guy either. Like, I don't think the Sharks need the guy right now.
No.
Hot take. No. They don't need the guy right now. They just need guys. I don't know, man. Like, it sucks. Look, I get it, man. Like, I know that when I do my bracket, it's completely brains. It's not heart. No one wanted to see Vegas hoist the Stanley Cup last year. No one, right?
No.
And it sucks that, Aiden Hill was the guy in net to do it. And I understand the knee-jerk reaction is to be like, oh, and I can't even come up with a coherent I can't even come up with a coherent rant that would normally go with it. Like, I understand why Sharks fans get super upset about it, but I don't, man. I think there's a lot worse shit to be upset about than Aiden Hill winning a Stanley Cup in Vegas. I don't think it mattered who was in net for Vegas last year. I think they were fucking inevitable. Like, that's just the way they felt from fucking round 2 on.
I mean, look, if there's something to be more pissed about, it's that you had to send 2 third-round picks with Hurdle to get the return you got. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, it sucks, dude.
Digress.
That sucks. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's worse things to get upset about than
for sure
than Aiden Hill going and winning a Stanley Cup in Vegas because the Sharks gave up on him maybe too soon. Yeah, there's worse things to be upset about.
So, right, we got that on there. So Ian and I think we agree. Edmonton, Colorado conference final in the West. Rangers, Carolina in the East. Or excuse me, Rangers, Florida in the East.
Yeah. What do you want?
Excuse me, my allergies have been awful this year. I don't know how it is up there, but it's just been brutal.
It's getting there, yeah.
Yeah. So that pretty much covers the playoffs right now. Let's talk Sharks really quick before we get out of here. Any speculation that you like about the next head coach?
Has there been I haven't really been paying attention.
I mean, there really hasn't, but is there a name that we really want to? You would really like to stick out?
I don't care because you know what? I don't care, and here's why I don't care.
Why?
Because this team isn't like. Because again, you're just hiring the next guy to fire. I mean, maybe that's all head coaches. Maybe that's a really dumb way of looking at it, but you're hiring the next guy to fire. Like I don't, unless if you get a guy who I don't know who that guy is, right? Like I don't know I don't know who the Sharks Jared Bednar is, the guy who's going to come in when this thing starts and then, and is there when it's actually over and is successful. Like that's obviously what you would want, is a guy like Jared Bednar who comes in when the team's awful and can be here when it's good and make that transition. But I don't have any faith in the Sharks finding that guy.
So basically, I should not hold out for Rod Brindamore.
Rod Brindamore, like the fact that, could you imagine any other franchise? Like I understand that Dundon, the leader of the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, is an interesting dude, but the fact that Rod Brindamore, who's still playing, like
Yes, that's the
Sheldon
funny thing.
Keefe, like we can talk about Sheldon Keefe getting fired now because they're done playing. Rod Brindamore is still coaching a team that is in the second round of the playoffs, and yet somehow his job's in jeopardy. Like, what the fuck?
Right. I mean, does Greer and Becker call Hasso and be like, okay, dude, let's just throw the money at him. You have the money.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
look, if Rod Brindamore became available, I don't hate that idea, right? Like, I think the Carolina Hurricanes would be absolutely fucking dumb to do that. But like, yeah, and Pat in the chat saying something like, I am so tired. Like, good. And I want to say something because I know some names that are going to get mentioned, like guys like Marco Sturm. I like Marco Sturm a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of time for Marco Sturm. But Jesus fuck, can this team hire anybody who hasn't worn the fucking jersey? Like, this is like
but Joel Ward just became available.
The San Jose Sharks have gone full fucking Hollywood, man. Like everything, like the San Jose Sharks should be called the fucking San Jose like pander sharks or something, because that's all they fucking do is pander to this fucking little segment of their thing that doesn't care about anything else other than, oh my god, remember when that guy was a shark? Like, I'm so fucking tired of everybody having to come, because let's go get that other guy who never won a fucking cup here either.
Right.
Like, I'm so tired. Like, I get it. Look, I love guys like Marco Sturm. If he came in, would I be mad? No. But I'm so fucking tired of everything in this team having to pander to, remember that guy when he was here? Remember that this is a team with no fucking Stanley Cups. Like, I'm so over this, man. But, whatever. Some idiot out there is pining for Patrick Marleau to coach the team next year. And
you had a lot of Joe Thornton when you and Jules did the news of that David Quinn was fired. I can't see that either. Marco Sturm is the ideal guy. If they're gonna go Sharks alumni, it's him.
But does it have? Why does that have to be? Like, I'm tired of this being a fucking thing that has to be on your resume. Did you wear the teal jersey at some point? Good, because maybe fans will pay to watch this team play. Like, if this team sucks ass, then why? Fuck. Like, if this team is as bad as it is, I don't care who's, but like fucking Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau could both be behind the bench as associate fucking coaches. And if this team looks anything like they did last year, it's not going to fucking matter.
No. My question to you is, do they even look at Joel Ward? I wonder if that's the one now that Vegas is eliminated.
Again, would I hate it? No, it's fine. But I just but I will be pissed off if everyone this is the guys they've interviewed and they're all fucking alumni. Like, I'm so fucking tired of the alumni circle jerk.
Right. Kevin Lacey, I get asked about Joe effing Thornton way too often. Mark Pearson, so Pat Falloon as head coaching. No Pat Falloon as head coach.
What is Pat Falloon doing these days?
He's up in Foxhorn, Manitoba, and on the farm. Come on now.
Good for him.
Yeah. So,
like, you know what I mean? Like, Joel Ward, I think, is a perfectly viable candidate. I think Marco Sturm is a really viable candidate. I would be probably really happy if they hired a guy like Marco Sturm based on what he's done um, in the LA organization. But again, like, just can we interview someone who isn't a fucking alumni?
You're right. Jay Woodcroft, come on
Uh,
down.
Aaron Jack says Mike Ricci. Mike Ricci is an interesting one because I think if he wanted to be a coach, wouldn't he be one at this point?
Right.
Like, I think if that's what he wanted to do, he would be a coach at this point. But I know he was on the staff when we had to assemble a staff of guys they were still paying. When when they fired Bob Bugner, they fired, and then
PDB.
Was it Peter DeBoer they fired, and then Mike Ricci was the assistant or whatever? Okay.
Ricci, Nabokov, and Roy Sommer, I think it was.
God, Jesus Christ. What a disaster. We need guys that we're still paying, so it's the pandemic, right? Yes, that's right. Wow, what a time the pandemic was, wasn't it?
Oh, man.
Fuck. I feel like if Mike Ricci wanted to be a coach, then isn't he he on the Barracuda coaching staff right now? Isn't he the head coach of the Barracuda right now?
No, Jesus. Stop it.
No, seriously.
He's a development coach.
But if Mike Ricci wanted to be a coach, like if that was his goal, if that was his play, isn't he the coach of the Barracuda now instead of John McCarthy? My opinion, he 100% is.
Yeah, I would think so for sure. So we'll see.
I think Mike Ricci is a name that comes up a lot, and I don't hate it because, again, I have all the respect in the world for the guys that go down and, work their way up, right? And Mike Ricci has definitely put his time in on the development side of the organization to definitely earn a shot at a job like this. It's more than, Patrick Marleau sitting in the press box with whoever.
Right. No, I get you. And Skylar might be right too, and this segues us to our final topic. Mm-hmm. My understanding is that the Sharks are willing to wait for the draft lottery before trying to find a head coach. I would hope so. I doubt they'll make an announcement before Tuesday. Easier to advertise your team to coaches when you can say you have the number one pick.
Yeah, but then you got to figure if Macklin Celebrini is actually going to turn pro or not.
That's true. So let's talk draft lottery. Looking at the NHL schedule, there are 2 games scheduled on Tuesday, May 7th, which is what they are doing.
It's going to be during the Rangers game, no?
If it's going to be
before
during or before
it?
If it's before, I got to find a way to get down to San Jose by 3:30 because the Carolina Rangers game is at 4 p.m.
Okay. I work too. I'm so mad. I had it off but I never booked it off. And then I was like looking at my schedule last week and I'm like, oh, where did this shift come from?
So unless they do something completely different, truncate it down without any sponsors and do it during an intermission, we're going to probably expect that to happen at 3:30 on Tuesday. So we are still waiting for official word, but the games on Tuesday have been set for 4 p.m. Pacific time, Carolina at the Rangers, and then Colorado and Dallas is at 6:30 there. So I'm kind of curious as to what they do here. So if you haven't already, I know, shameless plug, hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell. That lets you know when we go on the air. Hey, leave a like right now while you're at it, please. Thank you. Because honestly, I'm going to assume that 3:30 is a good guesstimate as to when this goes down. So,
Metal Mario in the chat, how do you guys feel about Bruce Boudreau as head coach? Bruce Boudreau is a name that comes up a lot. It's an interesting name. I know I can tell why people like Bruce Boudreau, but I feel like, for me anyway, my hesitation there is that the Bruce Boudreau, and look, at this team isn't looking for a bump, obviously,
right?
But I feel like his it seems like every time he gets a new job, he's there for a shorter and shorter period of time, and that concerns me a lot with a guy like Bruce Boudreau. And again, I think he's a good coach. I think he teaches good structure. But I just feel like every job he's had over the last little bit it's been a shorter and shorter stop for him. I
Right.
don't know if you would have asked me this before we hired David Quinn, I would have probably been all about it. But knowing what we know today, it wouldn't super excite me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Pat, I rooted for two shitholes, Gary. Give me something to cling on to with the lottery. Yes. So there's that indeed. All right. Well, I think that wraps us up for our catch up with the first round, get you preview for the second round, and get ready for the draft lottery. So in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, you name it, you love it. Of course, like I said before, if you're watching us on the YouTube channel or watching the replay, leave us a comment about what you think of the Sharks doing in the draft lottery. What did you think of the first round? Who do you think is going to win the second round? We'd love to hear your feedback, and we'd love to respond to it as well. So, Ian, your final thoughts before we wrap this one up on
What
this
do I
evening?
even say? Normally it's when the Sharks do good, it's good, but they haven't done anything. maybe that's good. Maybe doing nothing's the play here.
Jeez.
Yeah, look, I think let's all pour one out for my bracket. Yeah, right.
Oh, jeez.
Oh fuck, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna try and figure out some content over the summer. I don't think
Yes.
we're gonna be as quiet as we were last summer. Obviously,
No.
I think last summer there was a lot of burnout across the group, and I'm not burnt out at all. I could do this for another hour. So we're
All
gonna
right, so
try and...
let's talk about the top 10 games
Oh,
at
God.
SAP Center history. Number 10. No, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, man. Am I excited for Utah next season? Good. I mean, I'm happy for Utah. I'm happy for the Coyotes to actually have a real owner. I feel terrible for Coyotes fans, but
they got hosed big time. Those
I just have a team. Just have a fucking name. That's all I ask. Just have a fucking name. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm excited. I think it's fine. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, man, Utah Venom. See, Ricky is my guy, man. I want a cool fucking snake logo.
Oh, see, I would have gone
hate
Vipers.
snakes, but I want cool fucking snake logos.
Utah Vipers just sounds awesome.
I love it.
And very 90s as well.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Fuck the Golden Knights. But also fuck Peter DeBoer. I hate Peter DeBoer, man. I don't know. It's good. I'm looking for it. Look at playoff hockey is the best.
Right.
And it's this has been kind of fun because there's no stress. I'm not losing any sleep over any of these games, which is a nice feeling. But I do kind of miss having a real rooting interest, and I hope that we're not, I know it's going to be, I know the Sharks are this is far from over, and I think the Sharks obviously have a ways to go before we're doing this again for a playoff game, but fuck, I miss it.
Yep. No, I agree. I can't wait to do an After Dark from the Shark Tank again. That'll be fun. All right.
Yeah, man.
So before we get out of here, yes, we are in a Sunday night. It is after 7 p.m. We do need to have a tweet of the week, and
do we have to? Okay, well.
Oh, yes, well, only because I didn't get to it earlier. Not the Joe Bowen tweet, but the tweet from German_diver. I wish I was joking, folks. Mark Stone's wife, Haley Thompson, poses with a fan wearing an LTIR number 61 jersey.
I mean, if you're not cheating, you ain't trying.
And they didn't even try in the first round. So
that's not true. It was a good series.
No, that was a great series. It was a great series. Glad the better team won. All right. Until then, thanks for watching. We will see you on Tuesday after or during or before. We'll have to figure it out now for the draft lottery.
When the draft lottery happens, I wish I'm really sad I'm not going to be here for this. I wanted to watch a grown man cry on air. and it's not going to happen now. Maybe it'll still happen. Buckeye, you might have some fears.
We will see. We'll have to chat offline. Until then, thanks for watching. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real, Teal. Have a great night, everyone.